Oh, God.
You got at least 4 more shots of espresso to burn before we get into this.
The reason Rex is sweaty today is because we're on a very, very fun topic of conversation. What? What's that for?
I did plug that in.
No, I unplugged it.
Again?
Yeah. Otherwise, like, there's no conversation. I'm glad we're not live, man.
This is funny, though.
Yeah, we'll see how much that we leave in there. It'll be all right. It'll be all right, Voxel.
You smell like coffee.
I do smell like coffee. I drank an extreme large amount of it. So I went down there and I'm like, hey, I want like a cup of coffee or whatever this thing is called right here. And she's like, what? And I'm like, half calf. That much. Little cocoa powder in there because I'm feeling a little, like I'm fancy today. And she's like, okay, well, how many shots of espresso? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, espresso. I want it half full of coffee, but I only want half the caffeine because I can't deal with caffeine. Well, she ends up giving me 4 shots of espresso in there.
So basically, it fills this cup half with espresso.
And the other half with cocoa powder. So I'm sweating a lot. Howdy, Rex here. We're sitting here with Mr. Johnny Voxel.
Howdy.
Ah, yes, glorious times are being had by all people in the gun community as they continue to pinch down on anyone who might have like a little bit different idea than what their philosophy is. It's funny how they like to pretend like they're not, politically biased or motivated, but in the terms and conditions that are being enforced on particularly gun channels and any kind of political channel nowadays.
Well, we're basically talking about, your digital John Hancock, right? So.
Oh, wait a minute.
What? Rex hasn't had lunch yet today. But don't worry, we're fixing that problem right now.
Like, why is he eating while he's on video?
Why not? I mean, some people digest while they're on video. What's the difference?
Those avocados are not ready yet. She was correct about that deal.
What a sweetheart, Mrs. Rex.
She is.
Lunch.
Absolutely. I think so.
Putting up with you all day long.
Oh, man. It's a tap. Trying to keep the pterodactyl or whatever the hell in the cage so I don't chase it around the house and eat it and all that kind of stuff. I think that it's important for people to realize that they need to start flaunting their digital John Hancocks. You know what I'm talking about?
Show it off.
Remember John Hancock? Declaration of Independence? Everyone's all scared to put their name on anything that might, declare what their actual value system is or where their loyalties really are with God and trying to preserve liberty. And the consequences for that were pretty hardcore back in them days, right? Everyone was scared to sign that, except John Hancock went up there and put his name in huge, easy-to-read letters saying exactly what he was about and where his loyalties truly were. Damn the consequences. And so today, the consequences are far less than back in them days when they signed the Declaration of Independence, right? But people are just as scared.
Get tarred and feathered anymore.
Yeah. People are just as scared now to sign their digital John Hancock on anything. It's interesting, like we're talking just a minute ago about, I went to all these different ranges in California and all over the rest of the country, and even you go to the local gun stores and stuff, people are scared to really, particularly in the firearms community, to put their name on anything, to really express their opinion, especially digitally, because there are consequences of being categorized. Potentially down the road, people have anxieties about maybe getting in trouble or rounded up if, the bad regime takes over someday or whatever the consequences or anxieties are. I say, man, put your digital John Hancock on there, grow a set of balls, and you need to speak loud because the other side is doing that more effectively than we are, and thus they're artificially swaying the supposed direction of the country through the use of media to really convince all the people riding the fence that they're the majority, and most people are sheep.
It's basically like a very small percentage of people are swinging political opinion because they're the loudest and most annoying.
It's true. So it's interesting because, like, for example, on YouTube, man, right? Or YouTube's a good example. And I know a little bit about it because I'm on there once in a while, right? But they're starting to really clamp down on the gun channels. They did finally start hitting some of the big channels again. I know our friend Jaeger did get a strike on a video about guns for Girl Scouts or something like that. And then like some of the big channels, man, are getting strikes on them. They're clamping down with their new policies, and their entire intent on doing that is to either get you to shut your mouth and be scared and cower in the corner, oh, I'm sorry, or get you to completely just like change your mind or to really steer you. They're trying to bully you into doing what they think you should be doing. And if you disagree with them, they're trying to just get you off of there.
Censorship.
I say, man, hey, if we diversify the operation and where our presence is, right?
Here's the thing, it's harder to censor you if you're in more places. So if you're only on one platform, like, it's a lot easier to shut you down. But if you and your community are on multiple platforms, then it's a lot more difficult to shut you down.
Yeah, it's like if you get all the guys that you don't like on one helicopter and then that one helicopter were to crash or blow up, it's easier to, get rid of your opponents that way, right? Or like, don't put all your eggs in one basket type deal.
Right.
And so, any population of any kind of creature, the more diversified it is in its traits, can be a positive if they're not all in the same exact place. If you have all your critters standing on the beach that live on an island when the tidal wave's coming in, they're all going to drown. So what we need to do is diversify the operations. I know that a lot of us are on one or two media outlet deals, and the problem is they've convinced us really to go there just through kind of establishing, dominance in the marketplace, even to the point where it could maybe be considered like a monopoly type deal. And so they get us on these little kill zones, and then when everyone's in there and they think they have control, they just launch everything they got at that, and they basically kill the target that way. Well, I say, maybe we should start diversifying the operation. And when you talk about they're rounding us up digitally, and they're going to put us off in these ghettos digitally. And we all kind of know what comes next there after that. If you take that metaphor a little bit farther and compare it to examples in history, how they've shut other groups down and other people down. And so I think that, there's a lot of other emerging outfits that are coming out now to where a guy doesn't have to be... And here's the thing too. How sad is it if our entire life depends on like our media presence on Facebook, and that's it. So Facebook now owns your soul. The more you invest into one particular platform, or if your life is all about Snapchat or Instagram or YouTube or Moe's Bar down on the corner or the picnic grounds down there, and all of a sudden something happens to exclude you from that little micro environment, and you had all your entire persona focused in on that one deal, they got you by the balls, man. And so I've always been a believer in diversifying yourself enough to where you're kind of your own guy. You have several different doors open at your disposal, right? I think there's some really good platforms in terms of hosting video content is like Patreon. And so we are in the slow process of getting that rolling. I'm in no rush, man. I got a lot of stuff going on in life. Besides digital media type stuff, Johnny Voxel knows, and myself, we both go do real life stuff too. So we're engaging with real humans outside the matrix as well, which is a lot more fun in all reality. So actually, if they did shut down the old TiborasaurusRex channel like tomorrow or from this video, that would be a huge blessing in disguise. I would be retired, man. I'd be like, oh, I'm set. And I would go and I'd go hide in the woods again for another 9 years or whatever I'm doing, or go down and sit in the backyard, look at a squirrel, all the stuff I truly love doing in life. But as long as we're able to navigate on this network digitally, that's where the battlespace is, right? I think that's important for us to be able to jump from one tree to another. If a squirrel's getting chased around in a tree, it's got to be able to have the ability to move a little more quickly than the giant moving forces that are chasing it, right? And if you think about people who think that way, it's going to be a lot easier for them to escape and evade being corralled into one kill zone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the next thing is the difference, like standing up. Like if other, in the animal kingdom, if there's a predator coming at you, like a bunny can scare a cat away. It's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But the bunny's got to stand up and like charge the cat.
Yeah, man. So it's just really a matter of, I wish that the people in the gun community would think more strategically about some of these different threats in terms of, number one, you got to grow enough balls to be able to speak your mind regardless of the consequences. If they shut you down, move somewhere else. You can, if you can build it once, you can build it twice. That's fine. But don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I think that having really your true motives and your true goal be what motivates you. People, and it's very, very revealing too, man. Like when you look at what drives people's decisions to censor themselves, is like people value their social media presence or their job or being shunned by others in the community that disagree with them. They let that suppress them from saying what their true values are. So what are their true values at that point, man? I don't think their true values is what they say they really are anymore. Because if they're being swayed or motivated by things that are causing them to really censor themselves, then those things that they're censoring aren't as important as all those other things I just said.
And ultimately, that's what they want. They want us to censor ourselves, because that way they basically have won the battle and it takes no effort on their part.
That's when you become a serf. Absolutely.
Don't censor yourself.
And so it's like all those guys who were scared to sign their name on the Declaration of Independence, and they eventually did, so that's awesome. But John Hancock said, hell with this. This deal is so important to me that I don't care if the King of England tries to kill me, which basically is what he was signing his name down with. I'm going to put my name on here because this is what I truly believe in. And you can tell how much he believed in it by how large and boldly he signed his name. Do it digitally. Don't be scared to speak your opinion. And if you're wise about it, you probably want to start diversifying your operation. We're slowly in the process of that. I honestly am not a digital guy, but we're going to move on to some other platforms as well. There's a lot of neat platforms coming out. There's stuff that's going to replace YouTube. There's stuff that's going to replace Facebook, Airbnb, and all them different things. There's a lot of different stuff out there, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in the future, man, with some of them deals, because the more they focus their firepower on, let's say, patriots in one particular corner, and they think they got them cornered there, they're eventually not going to stand there and just get slapped around anymore. They're eventually going to either fight back, bite at you, scratch away, or get away and run to a different place. You know what I mean? So I think it's a pretty bold, cocky move on their part to think that they can just totally manhandle people. And the people that are being manhandled, that's too bad. I say they run off and like Mr. Yeager has created his entire new platform, and so is like Military Arms Channel. They all got that's what needs to happen, is a diversification of your options so that they can't corner you. But even if everything does come down at some point and it's like very dangerous to express yourself digitally, then I think that people have to take into account what you got to really think hard about what you truly believe in. And what are you going to do when that moment comes where you will be shunned or you will be fired from your job, or people are going to look at you like you're a weirdo because you're espousing your true value system, which basically, quite simply, for at least where we're coming from, is, hey, there ain't nobody in charge of us other than God. Next to that, we have been given dominion over the earth, and then we checked it off to some of the bad guys at some point, right? But basically, here in the United States, it's awesome because the people are in charge. And the more we let our servants think they're our masters, the more they're going to get corrupt and out of hand. So we need to remember these basic facts and not be scared to say what the real truth is on that stuff.
Exactly. Power's yours. Got to keep it.
You really thought you'd get away with it, big guy?
Oh, yeah, you got it. Tango 1-3, this is Pirate Lizard King.
Indexing hasty solution is 7.
What in the hell are you holding?
It's not sure.
It's an M349, that's a saw.
Target's got good cover. What's our danger space for a headshot at TRP-5?
Hi, Mom. It's me and my pals. Say hi, guys.
Yeah, dude. Oh, man. You're shorter than I expected.
These are super.